First off, everybody, the handout will be available after the lecture. It'll be posted on the unit and the BCA website, along with the recording of this lecture. So if you know of anybody that could not participate and would like to view it, they have access to it. And that will be sent out to you, that link to that, the recording and the handouts will be sent to you, everybody. So first off, I'd like to welcome everybody. It's good to see you all here today. I'm really excited to introduce our guest speaker. He's made significant accomplishments, contributions, achievements in the bridge world over his career. First representing the U.S. Juniors with Michael Schuster in 1993, going on and gaining recognition as a force to be reckoned with, nationally and internationally. Sam has captained our U.S. women's team several times, most recently in 2019 in Wuhan, losing to Sweden, the ultimate winner.
Where are y'all? Out on the lake?
Yeah.
Sam also created the Infernal Machine Convention. So I could go on about Sam's contributions and accomplishments. However, it would take up the whole lecture time. So without further ado, here's Sam Dinkin.
All right, so I'm going to talk about what I learned in Boston in 1990 at the Boston NABC. So there was a tiny junior program, I don't know, maybe a little over a dozen juniors who showed up, and they took us to Fenway, and they had a day of lectures right before the NABC started. And they really got superstars to talk to us. And it was really delightful. And the most memorable for me were Bobby Wolf's talk and Peter Pender's talk. My partner reminded me that Rodwell spoke to us, but he wasn't quite as exciting. Bobby Wolf at the time was a many time world champion, member of the Dallas Aces, just a really awesome player, godlike. We actually played the Spin Gold that national, and as the worst team in the event, we drew the 1 seed. Now that happened to be Mike Lawrence and not Bobby Wolf, but he's certainly of that caliber. So he got in front of the room and told some off-color jokes that are no longer politically correct, and let us know a few things. The most important to me was when to play your good major suit fits in no trump. At the time, I thought, you always played your no trump, your good major suit fits in the major. So this was completely counterintuitive, but I was open to learning about it. So here's an example hand where we played 3-0 and we had an 8-card major suit fit. It's from Tuesday's Steve Wood game. And I bid a lot, I'm sure. Those of you who play on BBO, is Nancy Joe. And Virgil and Charlene were on the other side, were the partnership we were playing against. So in this hand, we had an 8-card major suit fit. Nancy opened a 4-card major, so I wasn't sure whether we had one or not, but I didn't mind playing the major because I thought, I didn't really I had a source of tricks outside of our trump suit and didn't think we needed a ruff, and that they might even lead a spade. Well, I guess they wouldn't have let a spade. They wouldn't have let a spade after I bid them, but they might have let a spade if I just rebid 3-0. But instead, I had a slower auction. But as it turns out, 3-0 can be beat on a diamond lead. And from the other side of the table, Charlene would have had a natural diamond lead. So this one is not a great hand to be playing 3-0 and when you have a good major suit fit. So why? Well, one is it's all suit cards. They have all these aces, and Nancy has good trump. And another is we only have 26 high card points, so we don't have extra honors to spare to stop suits and so on. And that we can get a ruff and 4 hearts in the shorthand. I can get a club ruff. And we had this singly stopped suit, diamonds, and it didn't even break 4-4. It was very rude at the other table. So we ended up winning a swing, but that was just luck. So this is kind of the counterexample to kick it off with. Here's another one where they opened 2 hearts ahead of us, and my partner overcalled no trump with the East hand on top. And I bid 3-0. And again, I didn't know for sure that I was giving up an 8-card major suit fit, but I didn't mind because I had a strong heart stopper to go with partners. I knew with the 15 to 18 overcall, we were in the 26 to 29 range. And that was one of the things Bobby Wolf said. If you're in the 28 to 30 range, you're likely to be able to take the same number of tricks and no trump, and you won't fail to a ruff. So that was something I was thinking about. And I had a source of tricks, and I had transportation to my suit in hearts in my left-hand opponent's suit. And we were likely going to get a tempo when they led up to my ace queen. That's probably not their most effective lead, but they don't know that. So how'd we do? Well, we lost an imp because 4 spades made 6. But I don't view that as a bad thing, because if there had been an opportunity for a ruff, we might have made it when they go down at the other table. So at imps, you lose a lot of imps if you get it wrong. Where at match points, a 0 is a 0 is a 0, and if everyone's in 4, you're going to get half the match points if you're in the same thing as everybody else. So it matters more at imps than match points to play your major suit fits in the best strain. So what did Bobby say? What else did he say? Well, first of all, how did he say it? We didn't have fancy computers and projectors back then. The way that they studied hands in Dallas, the Dallas Aces used grease pencils and overhead projectors. They would print out or write the hand record onto the overhead projector, and they would cross out cards as they went through them. So this is another really interesting thing to me. This was before you could just go to the website and get all of your match points and the complete play record of entire hands. So this was news, and they were the first to do this, and that was another thing that I adopted, was careful analysis of hands after each session. And he also, I don't remember what else he taught us, but he taught us you can play your 4-4 major suit fits and 3-0 trump. And a corollary to that is Bob Hammond, also an ace and Bobby's partner, Bob Hammond's rule: if you have a bidding decision to make, bid 3-0 trump if it's a plausible choice. Or more recently, I heard him say, if 3-0 is an option, bid it. So this is a corollary to that. There was an I Love Lucy episode that sent this up. I don't think I think this was well before the aces. She woke up in the middle of a bridge hand and she said, 3-0 Trump, because kind of that's the most obvious game. If your partner's barred, bidding 3-0 Trump isn't a bad idea. So, so here it is. So I Love Lucy endorses it too. So here are some of the things that I've learned over the years and some of the things that Bobby taught me that day. So at IMPS, the safety of the contract is more important than match points. 3-0 Trump is one fewer trick. It's less beholden to lucky breaks. And 420 versus 400 isn't a big deal if you have like a 25% higher chance to make the contract. And if there are enough high card points, you can have eat your cake and have it too. You're making the same tricks, a number of tricks many of the times, because almost everything's double stopped in that range. And 4 of a major can fail on a rough where 3-0 is going to make the same number of tricks. And one of the things that was completely off the wall at the time was if you had a Queen X holding, that made no trump better than 4 of the major. And I'm thinking, why would he know that? How could he possibly know that? Well, there's just a more general class. If you have a doubleton jack or a stiff king or some other fragment, often third hand on the first trick is going to duck that trick and put in the 10 or some spot or lower honor or something to preserve communication to partner. So your Queen X is going to win the trick, even if they think even if you know as declarer it's going to drop, but they don't know that. I even had Roy Welland once bid no trump after I bid a suit on Queen Doubleton. So he had Queen Jack Doubleton and he bid 3-0 trump and just bluffed that he had a stopper, and that worked too. So watch out for Roy. So what did we do with this information? So we played in the national pairs, and one of the hands we won a game swing across the field when we played our 9-card major suit fit in 3-0 trump, and that helped us make the final. We also made the daily bulletin, but only because the people who won the national in pairs only had one bulletin hand they could remember. And it was only a bulletin hand because I made the hardest lead for them, which was a low club. I had learned lead clubs against slam prior to that point. I think that's because you can cubit almost everything else, and you don't always have room to cubit clubs. So that may be why it's best. It seems to work. So 30 years later with the same partner, here's another hand. So we were playing in the December Reynolds, the second round last weekend. And we had another auction. I opened at 8-11 one heart. This was like the fourth to last board of 32. And as you can see, I was getting pretty sleepy because I actually have 14, and I thought it was I was downgrading a 12 count. The first 2 times I counted, I only got to 12. And my partner thought, all right, I'm going to try to elope with 9 tricks because I think we may be down in the match and need a swing. And so we ended up in 3-0 on our 10-card fit. And we do have two on anything but a diamond lead. we have two stoppers, and even, yeah, and anything but a diamond lead, we have two stoppers. So I forget what they led, but we made 3-no trump. So it was probably a low club or the king of clubs. So that worked out. But so basically, why was this a good idea? Michael protected his ace-10 third of clubs. The contract can potentially be beat if you switch the east and west hands on a club lead, if he's not declaring. And we have a source of tricks, which is our trump suit, formerly known as trump suit. We have stoppers and everything. Michael was actually gambling that I had a diamond stopper. He didn't know. And so the result was 660 versus 650. So this was, if we had bid it right, we might have known this was a good idea. We didn't know it was a good idea, but maybe you can bid it right. And if you figure out a similar situation, you'll know that 3-no is an option, and a good one in this case.
How would you open your hand in your system?
Well, I could open it at 12 to 14 no trump, or yeah, 12 to 14 no trump is a system call. And then partner can find out that I'm exactly 4-4-3-2. The only problem with that is when he finds that out, he also tells the opponents that I have that. So it's a two-edged sword. So it doesn't necessarily come up every session. In the Wuhan Grand Prix 2, which is a side game at the World Teams Championships last September, September of 2019, we played 44 boards, and we never played 3-no in an 8-card major suit fit. The only hand where someone played 3-no in an 8-card major suit fit was the opponents, and they made 3-no on the and took the same number of tricks as my teammates did in 3 spades. So yeah, so even if it's rare, it's still one of the most useful things I learned at that junior lecture, because not very many people know it. So you're taking a position, and that means that you'll get a big payoff if you're right, but also a big loss if you're wrong. So to summarize all the different factors for why 3-no trump and why not, well, Queen X is one of them. Imps versus match points is another. High card points, so in the 28 to 30 range is the sweet spot. If it's higher, you might have slam. And if it's lower, then the 4 of a major will often make an extra trick, and no trump may be harder without a ruff. So no trump oriented versus suit oriented, whether you can get a ruff in the shorthand or not. If you have a strong doubleton like ace queen, or that'd be a good thing, because if they're likely to lead that suit, that means you get a tempo, and if it's a tennis, possibly a trick by playing no trump, or they might well lead something different against a suit contract. And an unstopped suit is a risky thing to be bidding 3-no trump with, especially if it's an unstopped unbid major. So it may be that you're declaring only one of the strains. So if you have a holding you want to protect from an opening lead, you might want to bid a new strain So that's both a why and a why not. Why you might want to play the major fit if you're the one declaring the major, and why you might want to play no trump if you're the one declaring the no trump. And 3-no trump can also, it's also interesting that if you have a solid suit, those may be no trump cards, but they're also suit cards, especially if it's a solid trump suit. If you have a solid side suit though, you may be able to get to 9 tricks even if trumps are breaking 4-1. So if you have a solid side suit, that's more often 3-no. If you have a solid trump suit, you have an option, and it's more, it takes some more luck and judgment to know which is better. But on the pro side, if you have a solid trump suit, you can run it and you may be able to get 9 tricks before they can get 5. But if you have a solid trump suit, you can also draw trumps if you're playing trumps, and have plenty of extra trumps to stop them from taking side suit tricks. So they can't run it. They can't run a suit. If the other side can't rough anything if you play 3-no trump, but you can't rough anything if you play 3-no trump. I actually had in the Reynolds round 2, I actually had an opponent get so excited about missing 6 diamonds that he claimed 3-no trump on a cross rough. So it's no good claiming on a cross rough if you're in 3-no trump. And duplication. So suppose partner bids hearts and you have a singleton heart. You can rough the hearts potentially if you have the short trumps and get an extra trick, but that's duplication. You can also maybe run that trick, especially if it's a semi-solid, run that suit, especially if it's a semi-solid or solid suit. And if it's a solid suit, you can do pitches and rough something else maybe. But if it's a semi-solid suit, then they are likely to be able to knock out an ace and cash something before you can run your semi-solid suit. So that's a reason why if you have duplication, you might want to play 3-no trump instead of 4 the major. The worst is a mirror. Unless you're playing relay, you're unlikely to figure out you have a mirror until you see dummy. But what that means is you have the exact same distribution, like 4 triple 3 with 4 in the major, and your partner also has 4 triple 3 with a 4 in the major, and no roughs are forthcoming at all. So you better play 3-no trump, even if it's a 5-5 major suit fit, because you're not getting any roughs. So you're going to probably get the same number of tricks you got at no trump as at a suit, and you're unlikely to get to 10. In fact, I had one hand in the San Francisco National in December of 2019 that I had a 5-5 mirror, and I passed a forcing bid to play at the 3 level, and it was right. So, you know, duplications are the worst duplication is a mirror, and the mirror is terrible news, but usually it'll be a surprise unless, so don't worry about it too much. And of course, Hammond's Law, or Lucille Ball's Law, 3-no trump. So a couple of why nots that I missed. So if you don't have transportation to run your trump suit, you might want to play for the major, even if your trump suit is bad, i.e. a 5-2 fit. So let's say you open 2-no trump and you have ace king tight when partner makes a Jacoby transfer. It's possible your partner will not have an entry, so that if you're going to enjoy that partner's major suit, you have any of it, you may have to play the major suit fit. Now, if it's only 1-no trump and you're planning to play game, partner will almost certainly have an entry. So it's usually only if you open 2 clubs or you open 2-no trump where the 5-2 is a good idea. And who knows, maybe partner has 6 of them. So another bad thing about why not doing this, the only way you can play often the only way you can play 3-no trump is to bid it. Well, I guess that's always true, but sometimes you can just not show your major support, so it'll be non-forcing. But suppose your partner does show you your support. Suppose you support partner and your partner wants to propose 3-no even so. You can't do that if you're playing 3-no as some convention. Some people play 1 spade past 3 spades limit past 3-no trump is a way to make a slam try. Some people play serious where they bid 3-no when they have a really good slam try, and they cue on the way to the 4 of a major if they have a bad slam try. And so the serious and frivolous are 2 ways to play that 3-no trump. And you can't play those if it's an offer to play. So I think I thought it was important enough, and it proved out from Bobby Wolf, it was important enough that I reserved a rebid in my no trump structure after Stayman to check back for 3-no after finding a 4-4 major suit fit. So I swear by it. It seems to be one of the best oddball things I learned over the years, almost bar none. So what else did I learn? Well, Peter Pender was also there. Well, not quite as storied with his success. He was still a many-time North American champion and in the Bridge Hall of Fame, and won the McKinney and made Life Master in 11 weeks and was an Olympic figure skater and great philanthropist. When he came to present, he wasn't looking that great, and he did die later that year of AIDS. So he was a tragic figure, but kind of like Moses on the mountain, that gave him stature for us to all listen to him. And what he said was also very, very useful, and even more useful than than playing 3-no in a 4-4 major suit fit, because this can come up on any hand, unlike 1 in 50 at best. So how do you get the most? He said, here's something I want to teach you about how to get the most out of your partner and how to avoid string disasters. So one of the things that's really hard for juniors and new players and hotheads and old married couples is they go on tilt like pinball machines. And that can lead to several hands in a row being bad boards because they're yelling at each other or stewing or how could I have made that slam? I was in that slam. I think I could have made it, and they keep replaying it over and over and over. So it can lead to a string disaster. So he gave crucial advice for how to break the chain. And it's simple, and you'd think, well, why would that work? But I tried it and it does. So you'll have to try it yourself to prove that it doesn't work for you. But take your doubts, set your doubts aside and try it before you decide it's not applicable to you and your partnership. So have an unloaded phrase that you agreed to in advance with your partner. So often, you know, old bridge partnerships, all it takes is like that look and it sets the partner off, or a huff. So, you know, you need some unloaded phrase that you agree, you know, this isn't going to be partner, you sucked. It's going to be partner, I know we had a bad board. It's a bridge is a partnership game. Let's try to get out of this hand. Let's take a break and forget this hand and move on to the next one. And you can learn that from a psychologist too, a sports psychologist or similar, or even just a regular psychologist if you're doing marriage counseling or family therapy, that by being able to step back from problems and not let them escalate or even just fester, you can have you can limit the damage to just that hand and you know, take a fresh start. So a Zen-like state helps me a lot with bridge. I just try to forget the last hand. If people ask me about the last hand, I say I forgot, even if I didn't. And I found a Zen quote to help us all meditate on why a Zen-like state is a good idea. So just be in the flow of what you were doing at that particular moment, totally focused on the activity and the inherent nothingness of that activity. That last part's optional, but if you remember bridge is a game, that may help you be more upbeat about it.
Sam, you know, being on BBO, we don't have that physical contact, so we don't see each other either. So you don't get that look or the
No,
huff.
no, you don't. But you do sometimes get chats, and you can still put partner. Maybe we should take a break and get a glass of water right in the chat. So, but I commend a Real Bridge. If you get the opportunity to try Real Bridge, it has built-in video. So that may no longer be true in a matter of months or years.
What is Real Bridge?
Real Bridge is it's a website that is new, that is mostly for tournaments. They don't have robots, and they don't have practice interfaces, but it's you actually get to see the cards being dealt. There's a graphical image of a bidding box that you can click on to pull out your card. And they even place it on a fake table in front of you upside down, as if you were at a real bridge table. So maybe I'll talk to the people in the unit about doing an introduction to Real Bridge, maybe even holding a unit game on Real Bridge, so that everyone can see it.
Idea.
But I'll take that up with the unit. I can't promise anything because I haven't discussed it with them yet. So the advanced version of Let's Take a Break is the Keller Convention. And that's named after Helen Keller, the famous person who was born blind, deaf, and mute. And she ultimately managed to overcome the mute and even a little bit of the deaf. She actually used her hand to listen to a great opera singer by putting her hand on his mouth while he sang. So the reason it's called Keller is it's an agreement by the partnership not to talk and not to listen. So if you have a bad board, you don't talk, you don't complain. And if your partner makes some comment about the last board, you don't listen to it and don't reply. So it's like the three monkeys: speak no evil, see no evil, hear no evil. And so we can call it three monkeys, or maybe only two monkeys, just the not speak and not hear. So that is something my partner and I also agreed to. And that also helps make it even more Zen-like, because you don't necessarily even need to take a break if you can exit the hand and never get into the hand. You can just forget the hand immediately by not talking about it. And there you are. So we can call it three monkeys or two monkeys. So my partner Michael and I were hotheads, and we yelled at each other. At one tournament in Reno over winter break, my partner was sure that I misdefended, and he accused me of a misdefense. And I said, "I beg your pardon," and told him why I defended like I did. And well, he actually forgave me. But despite being such hotheads, we were able to play this convention and still get good results. So I actually played against Peter Pender and his partner in a pair game in that very tournament in Boston. And I asked his partner, it was a break round that we arrived at the table. I asked his partner to tell me a story, and he wouldn't. And I got really mad at him. And when playing Mad, I was able to get two very good boards and clean their clocks. And when I was playing against Jeff Mextroth in Tromsø, and once in Tromsø and once in LA, he got mad, and he played not LA, Las Vegas. He got mad and played a lot better in a fugue state than when he was not mad. It was eerie, but not everyone's like that. So if you're not Mextroth, maybe better to play three monkeys or two monkeys. Playing angry is not for everyone. So I'm going to break here, and however you have people ask questions, we can take some questions, and then I can do some more hands if we run out of questions and we still have people who want to see some more stuff.
If you want to ask a question, come off, just unmute yourself and speak up, or use the chat.
Sam, I do have a question. The hand that you and Nancy Jo had played, where she overcalled the two heart bid with a 2-no trump,
right.
and she was headed by the king spot.
Right.
I've been instructed, when I overcall with 2-no trump, I should have at least 2 stoppers in that suit to do something like that.
Well, if you're Roy Welland, you might do it with 0 stoppers.
Wow.
It all depends. So if the reason she can get away with doing it with 1 stopper is that she's very heavy. She's got a full 18. So it's very likely that if I have enough to raise her to game, I will be able to provide a 2nd stopper, or will be able to run a suit even though there's only 1 stopper. So in fact, I was playing bridge in Jamaica against George Jacobs, and I had 18, and I didn't even have a stopper at all. But the best description of my hand was 1-no trump. And they all said, "Why did you bid 1-no trump with no stopper?" And I said, "It's the best description of my hand." And they had to check with their sources about you know, what is he thinking? And sometimes it's right, but your partner has to know what you're doing. So it's kind of a bluff to bid, like I said, when Roy Welland did it with no stopper. It's kind of a bluff to do that, and sometimes a bluff can win the board because people try a sneak attack because they think you have two stoppers, and you make the hand anyway. Sometimes there's no alternative to 3-no. She can't really see 4 of a major being a good alternative with only three cards in spades. Yep. So she and 5 of a minor, that's a very, very high. So if she made a takeout double, she might end up in a worse spot, such as a 4-3 major suit fit, or even a 3-3 major suit fit. I played a 3-3 major suit fit when I had a hand like this and made a takeout double one time. And 5 of a minor is way too high. I have no problem avoiding 3 of a minor. I'm allergic to 5 of a minor, so I don't worry about that at all. In fact, in my system, you can't even open a minor at the 1 level because it's artificial. So, but that, you know, if you give it a try sometimes, and like if it's heavy, if you have a solid suit or a semi-solid suit, if you have 1 stopper but extra length, so you know that like if it's a minor, they probably only have 3 or 4, or if it's a takeout double and the other one doesn't jump, you probably know they're 4-4. So it's kind of, you don't have to have 2. I release you from that obligation. But if you don't have 2 and you overcall it and your partner complains, you know, I can't help you there. You can say, Sam told me it's okay. And I said, but I'm telling you it's okay, but it's at risk, at your own risk. I can't protect you if your partner doesn't like it.
I have a question, if I may.
Sure.
Just what is the Real Bridge URL?
It's Real Bridge Online. Let me see if I can bring up a browser and show you. Oh, that's BBO. We don't like that. Realbridge.online. So it's
realbridge.com?
.online, ONLINE. Oh. And I actually have a director account on it, but I haven't run my first game yet. But I have played on it. USBF ran a tournament on it, and it's delightful. Still got some. It's a very new product that's still in development. So it has more features, and there's still some rough edges, but you can see people, and there's starting to be some US games on it.
And then where can we watch this particular lesson again?
That's a question for Linda.
Well, let me answer it. It'll takes a couple of hours. What happens is Zoom processes the video, and then sets it up somewhere. And then what I do is I put it on YouTube, and then we link to it from the unit website. So if you don't know where the unit website is, I don't have it on the top of my head, but it's linked from the BCA website. It's from the district website. You can get to it, and there's a tab for where you can follow the tabs, and there'll be a link to the presentations to the unit lectures.
Okay. Thank you.
I used my co-host privileges to admit somebody. I hope that's okay. It was Bach. So if you were keeping him out on purpose, sorry.
No, I just hadn't noticed yet. So thanks.
So any other questions, or do we want to go back to hands and let some of the less hardcore people get ready for the Steve Wood game, or whatever game they're playing today?
Yeah, the BCA has a 1:30 game on Saturdays. Is one of the things we're trying to shoot for. And Steve puts his game off to 1:30 sometimes when we have this thing going too. So both things may apply here.
All right, going once.
More hands.
All right, here's another hand with an 8-card major suit fit. This one also from the December Reynolds. So this one I opened a 1-no, and my partner raised to 3-no with the south hand, and he didn't even check to see if I had a 3-card major. So why? Well, he knew we were in the 29 to 31 range. He didn't think he had would get a useful ruff in the shorthand because he's looking at the ace queen tight of hearts. So I'm likely to have and also it keeps the opponents in the dark. The most likely lead against 3-0 in a blank auction is a major, because almost everyone tries to bid Stamen or Jacoby or with a hand like this. And when they don't, the defense infers they don't have a major. So a major's very often a good lead. Anyway, we lost 13 because they ended up bidding 6 spades, which turned out to be easy. But single dummy, it's not a very bad spot, and obviously 6 on a club lead, you need a little more help. You need both red suits to break 3x or better if you don't find the queen of spades. Here's another one, also from the same tournament. This one, we got to 3-0. Partner had that queen X, but he also had a small doubleton heart. And they ran 5 hearts and the ace of diamonds before we could get anywhere. And quite obviously, the other table was going to be in 4 spades, and they were. Another lose 13. So how did we win this match with all these lose 13s? But we did. Here's another one. This is from a Gib individual where I was south. I think it might have been the day I came third. I came third in the match point game. So I opened the strong 2 clubs and rebid 2-no, and partner transferred to hearts, but even though I knew I had a good 8-card major suit fit, I had the ace, king, queen. I chose 3-no trump. And why? Well, I had no aces. That's usually a bad sign, because that means that they can try to lead something for a ruff and get that ruff by crossing to an ace in their partner's hand. It means that they can potentially knock out my stopper and stop my suits, and they get in and they can cash tricks. So no aces is a good reason to play no trump instead of 4 of the major. Another way to think about it is, in a major, it's only the first couple of tricks you can be sure in a side suit are going to matter in the hand. So the side aces and kings are worth more in a suit contract, and those queens and jacks tend to be worth more in a no trump contract. So if you're heavy with queens and jacks and light on the aces, no trump is often better. So I won an imp and a half versus the field. I also had a good source of tricks. So why might this have been dangerous? Well, if partner didn't have an entry, like suppose partner just had if they keep holding up everything, I don't have an entry on this hand. So those hearts can die on the vine. But I played tricky. I let out my queen of diamonds, and they took the ace, hoping their partner had the king, which was, of course, sadly false for their side. Actually, they couldn't stop me because it was ace and one.
Well, he should know his partner doesn't have anything, right?
That's also true. But since he's so good at not knowing his partner doesn't have anything, he plays his cards at random pretty much. So, but yeah, did they hold me to 4? I can't remember. But anyway, but I did get to dummy eventually. So here's another one. This one from the December KO. And this was not at my table. This was my teammates playing. My wife opened a 14-16 no trump. Kate McCallum transferred to hearts, and then gave her partner a choice of games, usually with a 6-card heart suit. And Lynn with the 4-3-3, meaning no aces in the shorthand, all slow tricks, a spade lead, which is the most likely lead, very well covered because Kate didn't bid Stamen. She chose no trump, and this was the this was a good result. Claude Vogel, yes, that Claude Vogel from George's bridge columns in the bulletin, managed to get to 4 hearts and go down on the normal trump play. Queen of hearts and stiff king, you're toast. You'll lose the ace and king of clubs, the ace of spades, and a heart trick. So we picked up 12 imps, and I believe that was the margin. It would have been a tie if they hadn't had this result. For the diehards, there's a tiny island where 3-no is better than 4 of a major red, where it's just a race to get 9 tricks at all, and there's no possibility of 10, where no trump may be better than 4 of the major. And this is really like being a professional gymnast and sticking a landing, is to try to figure out when this is right, and 4 of a major is wrong when you've got just barely enough to make game, where you have 24 or 25, or if you're really crazy at imps, sometimes even 23 makes a decent game. Or if you start counting tricks instead of high card points, you might find yourself making game with as little as 18. So what are the signs to look for? Like if you have a running side suit, that's a case where a bad trump break, or even just a normal trump break, you'll have losers in the trump suit, and you'll have your side tricks in no trump without the losers in the trump suit. If it's a mirror, I mean, it's hard to know whether you're going to have a mirror if you're not playing relay, but sometimes you can have it. Like if your partner transfers to a major or opens a major, and you have a 5-3-3-2, and partner, you ask partner Jacoby, and partner doesn't have a singleton, you're within 1 card of being a mirror. So, so a mirror is another possible reason to play 3-no. And slow tricks again. Lots of broken holdings. If you have broken holdings, you need them to be leading into your stuff, and they tend to lead less passively against no trump because it's a race, where they'll lead more passively against the suit. But this is definitely not for the faint of heart, and not for anyone whose partner is going to say, you didn't have enough stoppers. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Sam. I wanted to answer the question about where to find the recordings. And so I've got, let me just share this real quick with you. It's not coming up. There we go. This is the page. I put this web URL on the chat as well, but this is where it is. It's lecturehandouts.html under the austinbridge.org. Check your chat window. It's sitting in the chat window. You can see we have a couple of these things: Smith Echo and two-way check back, discussion hands, lecture video there at the top. We'll be adding another lecture video for this presentation.
And I will send James and Linda a copy for them to post shortly.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you
Sam.
so much.
Thank you, Sam. We enjoyed that a lot.
Thank you, Linda,
Great.
James.
A lot of insight. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Enjoyed.
Insight with a C or an S?
Very funny. Take care, guys. Stay safe.
Thank you all. It was wonderful. Have a great day.
Cheers.
You too. Take care.
Okay, I'll be stopping the recording and